So welcome to our video game of the year. Yes, there's been so many games that came out this year in 2025, and we've done pretty good catching up with most of them. Yeah, we can't do all of them, and we'll ask you guys, what is your game of the year? Let us know down below.
Let's rock!
And before we begin, I just want to say what a pure pleasure it has been this year to play all of these games. We've had a lot of fun, and that's the main thing we want to talk about. We've had a lot of fun. Any games that we're not into, we just don't really play. You know, we try to play the games.
We know what we like.
We know what we like. You guys know what you like,
yeah,
for sure. So these games reflect our tastes.
Ours.
And what we're gonna do at first, we're gonna do some honorable mentions, games that were our game of the year, but just kind of got bumped a little bit. And I think for anybody who's watched the show this year, they may know what Kim's super honorable, this would be her game of the year. It would. We actually had a big conversation about this before.
Lots of back and forth.
Yeah, this week. We've been talking about all week. Take it away. What is your big honorable mention?
Well, of course, it's gotta be Fantasy Life, the girl who steals time. Take this.
And time has been stolen.
Only a couple of hours.
Yeah, how many hours?
I think we're like 170 plus hours.
Oh my God.
And I could keep going.
I know, I had to kind of say, hey Kim, maybe play some other games.
Yeah.
We've got like some other stuff to do, but you really liked it. Okay, tell everybody why you really like this game. Like really get into that.
Well, when I first played the series, I think it was like in 2013, I just loved the cutesy of it all and also just like the leveling up. And then you can do different type of jobs, but of course there's so many of them, and that's where your time gets put into it all. But when this came out this year, I was so excited. It was so much fun. I love the graphics. I love the characters. I love the story. It was just a game that I didn't want to end.
But it became a bit of an addiction.
It did.
Yeah.
An addiction because it's the quests, right? Like it constantly gets you into the quests and you just want to keep exploring the different worlds. I loved it.
It's kind of like a casino machine. You just keep leveling up and keep gambling, keep going and leveling up.
You make me sound like I'm addicted.
Well, yeah, no, but it was a serious addiction.
It
really was. And I think I've taught you about it like off camera. Yeah. Like what was it? It's like it's the leveling up, but it's the reward.
And that's what this game gave you. It definitely gave you rewards on a silver platter, and you felt so good to see your character grow and level up and bring in all the other characters with you. Buildings. Yeah. You can build things. As soon as I start building stuff,
it becomes something else.
Yeah, I think it's like The Sims for me when I was a kid. I just loved to build. I didn't really play the game. I just liked to build. And as soon as you bring that aspect into these games, I'm gone for 170 plus hours.
Yeah, and you're gonna go back to it, which is even
I
crazy.
want to go back to it. I know I shouldn't.
No,
you know why I say that? Because there is so many other games out there. I have given my time to Fantasy Life. Literally, I lived the lives.
Yeah, and I want to say something. No sponsorships this year from the company Level 5 who made it or anything like that. This is pure love.
But I would be your girl.
I know.
I would be the front woman on this.
I tried to get an early review copy. I couldn't even get in touch with anybody over there. Nobody would even respond back to me.
Looks like we came out on top.
So that was mine, but what about you?
Okay, this is crazy because for a long time, for probably the last 6 months, this was my game of the year. It was, and I was telling all my friends, I'm crazy. Everybody's gonna think I'm crazy when I say this is my game of the year at the end of the year. But my honorable mention that nearly was game of the year is City of the Wolves. A fighting game, one of my favorite fighting games in probably the last 10 years, and I'm a Street Fighter guy. But City of the Wolves really stood out to me because it's a sequel to the 1999 game Mark of the Wolves. And they came back after all these years, and they didn't just create a game that was good, they came up with a game that surpassed the original. And that's the one that I couldn't believe because I've always been playing the original game for so many years, and they came back, and I think it's what it is if the graphics are fantastic, it's all your movesets, it's all those original characters coming back. I think they nailed it because all of the characters look fantastic in 3D, and they were 2D in the original, and it's a Fatal Fury game, and that's what I was really happy to see, a return to Fatal Fury, and I got to play as Harry Bogard, once again.
Of course.
Of course. One of my favorite characters when I first discovered Fatal Fury on the Neo Geo cabinet in that arcade all those years ago where I grew up. It was right across from my Street Fighter cabinet, and I'm like, Fatal Fury, what's this? And it wasn't as good as Street Fighter, but I really liked the characters. I liked how it was different, and then they kind of built from there.
Let's rock! Damn! Rock you! Rock you! Yeah! Rock you! Burn it, PG!
And here we are in 2025, and I was so happy to see a return to fighting games from SNK that way, but also that it was a sequel to Mark of the Wolves, and I just think they nailed it. I finished the game with every single character.
Yeah.
I was always playing it. Whenever I was like, oh, what should I do? Oh, I'll play some City of the Wolves. And that's why it was nearly my game of the year, because it's the game that I kept playing over and over again. And one of those ones that I really, got my time out of, and I'm still going to go back to it because they still keep adding characters. When they brought Ken over and Chun-Li, I was like, I'm sold. This is all I need.
Try not to cry when they give me the crown.
Okay, so drum roll, please, because now we get to the game of the year, and there's a lot of explanations that need to happen here. I want to say it's not a Nintendo game. It's not Mario Kart World. Everybody's like, what? It's not Donkey Kong Bonanza. What? It's not even Metroid Prime 4 here. Beyond.
My.
I know that slipped in the end of the year. It's not a Nintendo game this year. And I really want to justify and explain our choice today. And again, I'll ask you guys, what is your game of the year before we begin? And what is our game of the year?
Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yes, and I just want to say, to be very clear here, this is not a jumping on the bandwagon because it won the Game Awards Game of the Year. A lot of other people have said it's their Game of the Year. And me and Kim sat on the couch talking about this for the last couple of weeks and really going through all of the lists of games this year. I also want to say a lot of the games that came out this year were remakes or remasters of old games, which were great.
But this was different, its own scale, I
Yeah,
found.
yeah, it was its own thing. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was a game that I was like, oh, I'll cover this little indie title because the combat looked good.
Yes.
And I did have like a first thoughts on it, and I thought nobody's ever going to see this review, but I want to talk about this game. And then the internet happened, and everybody started rallying around this game in a way that I've not ever seen before. I just want to say that. And everybody was like started talking about it. It became a thing online. Sometimes there's a game coming out and there's no talk about it.
Right.
And then the game comes out and still no talk about it. This game came out, nobody was talking about it, and all of a sudden it was a boom.
Picked up
And
speed.
yeah, and it was sold out. Nobody could get this game. And the thing is like, did it live up to the hype? It did in the end of the day.
It did.
It did. What were the things that you liked about the game?
I love the story.
Yeah.
I love the story, the style. I mean, like I said in our previous review about it, you felt like you were in a dream world.
Yeah.
They really captured that. And I wanted more. I feel like they might actually continue on. There's more things that they could probably add into it. And you didn't want it to end. And just the style overall, this is like the game that we would want Final Fantasy to be now.
Yes, and this is why we picked it. And we picked it for a lot of different reasons. As Kim said, the story, the combat.
Oh, yeah. Even though it was hard.
Yeah, it had its moments.
But it had its own combat that made it so unique.
Yeah, it's a counter parry system, which is really fantastic. But it brought in turn-based combat again. That's the main thing that we want to talk about here. It brought that turn-based combat here, and that's something that Final Fantasy has kind of done away with. Arguably yes or no, no if you like it or not. I played it and I enjoyed the action combat of the new Final Fantasy games. I'm not against them at all, but I'm always hearkening back to say like Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy 12, back to the kind of turn-based combat. I know 12's kind of changed it up a little bit, but the good old days where they go, you go,
Yes.
Plan your strategy. It's like a chess game, and that is why we picked Claire Obscure Expedition 33 as our game of the year, because we just want to send a message to the industry that we love turn-based combat like a lot of you out there. And that's one of the reasons why we like the game so much, because the game is probably 30% exploration, 70% combat. That's where you're at. And just the smaller development team, which was a lot more people than 33. They were trying to.
Yes.
It was a lot more people than that. But what they brought to it was a lot of heart, a lot of love.
You felt it.
You felt it.
You felt
it
it
with the characters. I mean, Kim was like just so absorbed into the story the whole way through.
When you battle the Paintress, know that Lumiere fights with you.
The music was so
Beautiful.
perfect.
The orchestra was absolutely beautiful.
And it brought the world to life. You know, that dark, and light world together. It's funny, a lot of people have been going on and on about Clair Obscur, and I have a lot of friends behind the scenes, and you know who you are, messaging me going, I can't believe Clair Obscur won Game of the Year. And meanwhile, me and you are like ready to say this is our Game of the Year.
Well,
I think a lot of people think it's overhyped, and I don't think so. I think the internet and a lot of us, rallied behind this game because it felt like a bit of a breath of fresh air.
very unique.
Very unique, and we want to support a game that is doing new things but old things, and also support a company that's doing that, and it gives a great experience. We had a lot of fun. I started with my first thoughts, and then Kim, took it from there right to the end, and I was there the whole way through, just sitting on the couch. That's what we do. We sit on the couch and play video games together and talk about the games and laugh about them or make fun of them.
Or you walk away because I get kind of mad.
Oh yeah, sometimes like Kim's in a boss battle, I'm out the door, I'm like, for sure. But just laughing at it. There's a lot of funny things in this game, like the creature that you ride on and stuff like that. We said it looks like a giant asshole. I know, I'm saying it again, but it's funny. It's funny.
It has its humor, and I loved it. It actually caught me off guard a few times, me laughing out loud with the humor and the banter between the characters. And not many games can do that,
Yeah. Especially nowadays. Like some games take themselves too seriously, and this game is a very serious.
Oh, it's a very serious game.
Yes, it has a little bit of levity at times, but most of the time it's pretty heavy stuff. But I applaud the effort, and I want to support it because they brought turn-based combat back in such a great way. I mean, this turn-based combat is so good. You have to see it, and you have to experience it for yourself.
Brace yourselves.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun this year playing a lot of games, but Clair Obscur, when we looked at the whole list of the year...
Because we just kept coming back to it. That's what won it. We're like, you know what? This is it.
Yeah, and it's not one of those ones we want to be politically correct and pick that because it's the proper choice. It was the choice for us because of the message that it sends. It's a great game, but also that turn-based combat and is something that we want from all the other companies. Atlas does it, and I think Square just needs to have a look and say, hey, and they were there in attendance at the Game Awards, that they're sitting there going, what is it about this French game that captured the world? Even Hideo Kojima was like, what, it beat Death Stranding too? He's like, it is like, see, kind of go, what? But I think he applauds it too. I think he likes the idea of something very different. It is the one that stood out to us this year. So that's our choice. We'll ask you guys, what is your game of the year? What's the game that really stood out to you? It could be from any genre. It could be an indie game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who made it,
Just getting started.
To be honest with you, it was cool to not have a Nintendo game this year.
Yeah, change it up.
Well, I had a Metaphor Refantasio last year, but usually I thought coming into the year before I played it, I thought it would be Mario Kart World.
It's beautiful.
I thought it would be this, and I played this and I loved it, and I think it's a great game, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this. It was this great little company in France that took a chance and did something unique, and it took the world by storm. It quite literally did. And we're kind of like blown away by that fact, and we're definitely here to support it. at the end of 2025. And we'll ask you guys, what is your game of the year? Let us know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.